You've been calling. Hey, welcome to another episode of This Is Our Normal Podcast. I'm your host, Saul Jones, and we took this show on the road this week. We're down in San Clemente for a couple recordings here. The first one I'm really excited for. One of my best friends in the world. He was my house manager at my first rehab I ever went to, Hope by the Sea. The man's got more felonies than I've had birthdays. No, I'm just kidding. I've only had 29 birthdays. But his name is Brian Hood. He goes by Hoodie, Hood, Sweatshirt. We just call him Hood. How you doing, man?
No one calls me Sweatshirt, just to clarify.
How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Right.
Here.
I wanted you to co-host this thing with me, but you're just too busy now.
Yeah. No.
He's basically
if I had the time, man, I would. But
I know. Oh, man, I'm excited for this one. We've got some really good stories. Before we get into it, I just want to remind everybody, go to our website at thisisournormalpodcast.com. There's a contact link there if you want to hit up the show. If you have questions for some of our prior guests, if you have questions for us, if you want to just comment, if you want to write in and be on the show, let us know. Also, on the website, there's links to every episode that's already available, as well as links to iTunes, Spotify, Google Play Music. And there's also links to our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Go like our pages. If you want to help the show, go to iTunes, give us a 5-star rating, and also leave us a comment on iTunes. Very important. That would really help us out. But all right, let's get into this thing, man. So the first time I meet Hoodie, it's my first trip into rehab, and I'm scared as hell. And I didn't realize in rehab the inmates run the asylum. So I get there, and there's this big, buff, ripped dude with a backwards hat and sunglasses on, and now I got to take directions from this guy. What did you think, Hoodie, of me coming in? Because I was terrified of you.
I was like, nice-looking guy. You shouldn't be any problems for my house, which turned out not to be true. But, I was like, cool, man. We got nothing but troublemakers in here. This should be a nice change.
Hoodie was the house manager when Mikey Hall got the entire house but me to relapse on heroin.
Yeah, thanks for that, by the way.
Dude,
appreciate both of you.
That was my first day in the house.
Made me look really good with all the directors of operations and higher-ups. It's great.
So I've been dying to tell this story about when I was in yellow phase or whatever, basically sober living. And I think you already know the story I'm going with. When I snuck out of the house.
Which time?
So, okay. Hoodie basically had 2 rules, don't use drugs and do your fucking chores, right?
Yeah. I know, super hard to follow those, but yeah.
Curfew was at 10 o'clock. And I decided after 10 o'clock, now Hoodie was on duty this night, and I decided, after everybody goes to bed, I'm going to sneak out of the house and go see this girl. And she was picking me up, and then we had to drop somebody off, and then we were going over to this girl's house. And I sneak out of the house. I'm being all slick. I get over there. I go upstairs. And in the corner of the room, I walk in and I'm staring Hoodie right in the eyes. He had snuck out too.
Here's the thing. All right. We weren't getting paid for overtime or overnight shifts.
How about just time?
Right. In my head, it was okay. And to this day, I stand by. But yeah, that was great.
He looks at me, and all I hear him say is, "I won't tell if you don't tell." And I was like, "DLC's
the code."
So we stay up there. Now, what's really crazy is the girl that Hoodie had gone to see that night. You're basically married to her now.
Something like that.
Yeah. And so Hoodie's a really good soccer mom these days. But so that night, do you remember though? We stayed till like 3 or 4 in the morning, and you were like, I was like, dude, I got to go to work, and you were like, oh, I got something for you. Remember, you go into your backpack. You remember this?
Oh, the pre-workout,
the mesomorph, bro.
Mesomorph, the morph.
We were morphing so hard.
We morphed so hard that night, bro.
Mesomorph is basically, it's illegal now, right?
Yeah. Well, it's off shelves. I think you can still get it from China overseas.
That checks out.
You had no business taking that, and I'm sorry.
No, dude, it was wonderful, man. I get to work, I drink it, I get to work, and I text you. I was like, I'm feeling a little methy right now, bro. I promise you won't pop dirty for anything.
Yeah. No, I tried it before, trust me, because I got tested too. And so I was concerned about that because I had this same feeling.
Yeah.
And so I did it all different ways. I took it, I pissed in a thing like 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
I also poured it directly into the cup.
What?
Yeah, just to see, like, I don't know, if you pour meth in a cup, I'm pretty sure it's going to pop. No?
No, because
here's the thing.
It's how it processes through the body. It's got to process through your kidneys and liver.
The metabolites, right?
Yeah.
Well, whatever. It doesn't hurt to, be safe.
That's hilarious.
So, yeah, I already knew it wouldn't.
Yeah, but yeah, that was cool. We had good times. We had a lot of fun in that house, and I wanted to get into the story of your last relapse, though. Do you mind talking about that a little bit?
It's all free game, man. Go ahead.
I want you to tell a bit of it. But here, I'll tell my side of it, and you fill in the bits.
Okay, well, let me just start by saying, we'll give them a little intro. Okay,
Yeah.
So I was working at Hope still, the rehab that we were at, and I just got tired of it. I was in a bad spot, and you
had been there for 2 years, right?
I had been
working
there for 2 years,
yeah,
and they were just fucking us in all directions. So
yeah.
I was like, already kind of in a bad state of mind, and I had a birthday, and I went out to the bars. I got wasted, ended up doing a little coke, and then that was it, man. It ran from there. I started picking up from guy, and it got worse and worse, and then it got to the point where I was gonna get fired or I had to quit.
Yeah.
So before they could fire me, I quit, and then I just went on a sick run. They had just broken us off.
Oh man.
I got to it. What I do best, and just started running and gunning, and one thing led to another, and then a couple times you and Brooke and a couple other people that care tried to, like, hey, do you want help? And I was like, I'm not quite done yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. That was the exact feeling.
I was just being real, there's no point, dude, because I've been through it so many times, and I knew that if I were to go try to get into treatment at that time, I would just bounce and go do something else. So
yeah, I
just decided to kind of get it out of my system, and luckily I didn't die, because I did keep getting it out of my system for quite some time. That was
dude, you were getting it out of your system hard. The night that I came to get you with Brooke, I get a call from Amber, your girl, and she's like, hey, I caught Huddy using, like, can you guys come get him? He's got to bounce out of the house. And I had never seen you use before, so I had no idea what I was walking into. And I mean, Hoodie's a big motherfucker, right? And I was roided up at the time, but it still doesn't touch Hoodie, right? And she's like, you got to come remove Hood from the house. I was like, first of all, you don't call people to remove Hood from houses. Hood removes people from houses. Like, instead of, he doesn't want to go, he's not going anywhere. And she's like, well, come, you guys are close, come talk to him. So I get there, and it broke my heart, man. It really crushed me, because honestly, I've told you this before, you're one of my heroes, and so I walk in, I see my hero. He's I think you had been on some meth, because you were like shivering a bit, probably coming off of a little H, and so I just climbed in bed with you, kind of cuddled you up a little bit.
Right.
Yeah?
No, I remember that.
And then you were like, he says, he goes, hey man, where are we? Why are you here? I was like, we're at Amber's house. And you're like, oh, Temecula? What are you doing in Temecula? And then it dawned on you, we're like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, Brooke's out in the living room, and he's like, oh, Mama's here. He's like, oh, it's time to go.
Yeah, it was so time, dude.
Oh man,
I was ready. I was waiting for something like that.
So we started driving down to Temecula, or from Temecula to San Clemente, and we were taking you. You said you'd go into treatment, and we were trying to get you a bed that night. Mainly Brooke. Brooke's amazing, and that's what she does.
I can't thank her enough.
Yeah, she's awesome, and so she, she's getting him a bed, and Hoodie says he's gonna drive, so I'm passenger side with him, and he's
that was part of my stipulations. I said, okay, I'll go, but here's the thing. We're gonna do it my way.
Yeah, of course. That's what we always do. It's our way or nothing.
Oh, always.
And so I said, I'm like, you can use all the drugs you want, all the way there, but once we get there, you're going into treatment, right? And you're like, deal, I mean, not that there's no making anybody go into treatment. You obviously wanted to do it. And so I counted 15 needles in his arm that day.
Well, I think it was 2 needles used 7 and 8 times, to be honest.
Absolutely. One was what, meth? The other was heroin?
Oh, no, they were mixed.
Because you would kind of nod off on the drive, and then you'd hit another one, and boom, you were
Yeah.
back to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how I do it. I don't fuck around, man.
You don't. You do not.
I don't do one or the other. I'm pissed off if I have one and not the other. It's like it just doesn't work for me.
What is it about that? What makes you need both?
I don't fucking know. I'm a drug addict, man.
Yeah.
It's just a different, I don't want to excite people, but it's a different feeling, You can't really explain it until you felt it, but it's nasty. I don't wish that on anyone. It's the worst.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is miserable, man. It's like a prison. This prison and it's hell, and it feels like once you start up again, it's like impossible to get out.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like you can't. We lock ourselves in that prison, so it's not like you can be mad at anyone else for it.
Right.
I do that shit to myself all the time. It's been a while now, but every time it's been me, and that's funny from someone who's been locked up and done time and been forced to be somewhere against their will.
What's that like, by the way?
It's so fun, bro.
You tell us.
Remember our house that I managed is like that, but times 10 fun. No, it sucks, dude. Anywhere that you are at that you don't feel like you have your freedom, you can't make your own decisions, you have people dictating what you do.
Right.
That sucks, and sometimes you need it. The structure. I'm not gonna say that I didn't. Do I wish that I never went? I don't know. That's debatable. But yeah, it sucks, man. So then when we do this to ourselves, it's like, why? Why do we do it?
Is there anything that you feel like you gained from like being in prison? Like, is there something that you came out with that you're like, this I really gained and it's really improved my life a bit?
I didn't die.
Yeah.
If I spent all those years on the streets, who knows? I might not be here.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't. So there's that.
Yeah. Okay. I've always wondered because it's supposed to be a rehabilitation. It's supposed to be like when we go to rehab, but it seems like it's not, right?
Dude, it's so not. It's the complete opposite.
Yeah.
It's basically college for criminals.
Yeah.
You don't learn shit other than how to do your crimes better.
What is
as many times as I got locked up, I never got locked up for the same thing. It was always something different. But
was it usually drugs or what was?
Yeah, it all revolved around drugs or alcohol in one way or another. DUIs, gun charges, drug charges, but it was all intertwined. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, the thing is too, like, those are all symptoms. Those are all like guns, like using guns and drugs and doing crime. Like that's all symptoms from the impulse control disease.
Absolutely.
And I think once we mix the drugs in, it makes everything else just so much easier to do.
Oh, for sure. And when you're not feeling emotions, you're basically just a walking, I don't want to use the word zombie, but you know what I mean.
No, you nailed it, actually. I mean, that's when you numb your prefrontal cortex with drugs, your emotions have been numbed. That's where all your emotions come from. That's where all your morals come from. That's where everything that about you, your personality, your characteristics, everything's in your prefrontal cortex. When we use drugs, we numb that, and then our midbrain takes over. Our midbrain is where the impulse comes from. That's when we want to steal, lie, cheat, do crimes, do drugs. Makes us do drugs more. It's like this cycle, and yeah, so it all goes together. That makes total sense to me.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, it all goes hand in hand.
How did you get clean? The first time you ever got clean. What was that like? And why did you go?
Well, the first time I used to party a lot as a teenager. I drank, smoked, weed, whatever. And then I went to military school from 16 to 18. When I got out,
whoa! Don't just skim over that. Military school. What the fuck?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I've told you, but you're just an asshole and forgot.
No, I remember, but I want everybody else to hear.
It was just stupid. It was boot camp, basically. You just walk in a line everywhere you go, wear uniforms, and
sounds hot.
Follow dumbass rules. I mean, it probably kept me out of trouble, so whatever.
Yeah.
But so after that, I went back to California, where I'm from, Sacramento, and I was living with my mom and dumbass stepdad for a little bit, like a week, and I got kicked out.
For doing what? Drugs?
No, just we fought. I never got along. Like, we always had a rough relationship because of him. He was an asshole, dude. He was just abusive, a dry drunk, and whatever. But she was like under his control. So anything, instead of him punishing me, because she told him no hands on my kids, you don't say shit. So he instead would be like, hey, go tell Brian to stop doing this. Go tell Brian to stop doing that. He's just an asshole, dude. They're not together anymore, thank God. But
That's good.
so me and my mom had a terrible relationship. We'd fight all the time. So she kicked me out after a week because I wanted to go hang out with my friends, and I was supposed to be on this stupid 90-day no hangout rule when I got home.
Grounded.
I was like, you fucking kidding? I've just been locked up for 2 years pretty much.
Oh my God.
Dude. So anyways, I hit the streets running, right? I'm like, well, what the fuck do I do? I start walking with my backpack because I got nothing else.
Yeah.
And I started just hanging out with, dumb people. Started doing a little bit of drugs, ecstasy, coke here and there. And I started partying a lot. I eventually kind of got my shit together, got an apartment, got in a terrible relationship.
Yeah. Did you have a job?
Yeah,
okay.
I was working. Yeah, I had several jobs. That was the problem.
Yeah.
I did keep one for a couple years, but that's besides the point. I started partying a lot, and then one day I ended up, I'm not going to waste too much time on it, but I got into Oxy, selling it. And then when the coke supply ran out, I started doing Oxy. I decided to try it one night with a friend,
shit.
well, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And then from that day forward, that was a wrap. That's when my life, opiates took my life over.
Yeah.
Because I did that shit. I smoked it for like a week. And then this was back when they had 80s, like
Right.
the real 80s,
Right.
Before they changed the formula.
Yeah.
And one thing led to another. And that's when I started getting felonies and getting drug cases. And then when they changed the formula, I turned into a heroin addict.
Oh, because they started making those Opanas, right?
Yeah.
Which
The
film on
Opanas
them?
were just something different. They were always around, but they changed the formula of OxyContin and to where you couldn't crush it to snort it, you couldn't smoke it, you couldn't shoot it. They fucked it for us.
Oh, so now you had to go. They forced people to go to heroin.
Yeah,
that just
essentially.
forces you
And then
because-
the market got flooded with heroin like it was planned. I swear
It
was.
probably was.
Yeah. So that's how I became a heroin addict. And then I took a vow because my brother was a meth addict in and out of prison. And I always said, I'll never fucking touch meth. I'll never put a needle in my arm, this and that.
Yeah.
And as you know, once you start doing something for long enough, you want the next best thing.
Of course.
And it just has a way of escalating. So that's what happened, in and out of jail, in and out of prison. But the first time that I wanted to get clean was when I was still on Oxy. Yeah. And I called my mom one day just crying. I was just like, fuck, my life sucks. Like, I hate this. And I broke down and I just told her straight up. And then I ended up on methadone.
I did that for a little bit.
At the clinic, dude. Yep. That lasted for 3 weeks. I didn't use heroin. Oxy. And
did you use on top of the methadone?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I talked
After
about
a few
that.
weeks.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I was like, cool, easy fix. Go to the clinic. Oh, and then one day I was late and didn't make it. And I was like, well, I'm not going to be sick today.
Yep.
You know how we do.
Yeah. Well, especially if you have a life, if you're trying to work or do whatever, you can't be sick that day.
Yeah. Well, I had no life at the time. But, yeah, that was my excuse to go get high.
Of course. Yeah.
So that's kind of how things started for me.
So, okay. So you were on the methadone. You used a little on top. Then you went into treatment after that? Or when did you find?
No, I never. So I went to IOP, intensive outpatient, and went to a sober living after my first little stint in jail. I did like half a year, and I got out and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do things right this time. So assuming that I wanted help with paying for the sober, I had nothing. My mom said, I'll pay for a sober living if you do this and you do that, and I said, okay, I'm gonna do it. So she was paying for it, and I was going to IOP for 3 months. The day that I completed, which I was already starting to drink towards the end of it anyways, but the day that I completed is when I went and picked up again.
Shit.
And then so most of my time clean was when I was locked up.
Okay.
By choice. I mean, there's drugs in there, don't get me wrong, but...
I've heard it's easy to get drugs inside.
I've taken drugs in. I mean, but... Hope no law enforcement agencies.
Oh, by the way, all of
listening
this
to
is
this.
alleged.
Right.
Everything before and after saying is alleged on any of these podcasts. So yeah, no.
Okay. So but anyways, yeah, man. But there would be, I'd be like, fuck, I gotta stop doing this. I'm getting old. Like, I'm in my mid-20s at this point when I started doing some serious time. And I was like, I gotta stop fucking doing this. I'm getting too old.
Yeah.
And so I started getting, business books and this and that, trying to
nice.
stop hanging out with the dumbasses in there, did my own program.
I noticed you
just
pointed
had a
to Joel
routine.
when you said dumbasses. I agree.
Well, it was more of a side point, but yeah, I started hanging out with Jules.
Jews? Joel? I'm a Jew. I'm allowed to say that.
Right.
No,
Partial.
but I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, so, there was times in there that but the thing is, like I said, going back to being locked up, being any type of rehabilitation at all, it's fucking not, dude.
Right.
All it does is teach you how to do shit better, and it doesn't prepare you for a goddamn thing. So you're sitting in there, and even when you want to do good, you hit the streets, and reality checks you hard.
Oh yeah.
There's none of what you expected was gonna happens.
Right. It feels like you're describing the same feeling I've gotten coming out of a rehab before.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, rehab's a little bit better in some ways and worse in others, but
I don't mean as far as like the experience inside. I just mean coming out of like I have plans of what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, you got all these pipe dreams.
Yeah.
So yeah, just life has a way of doing that anyways. Nothing ever works out how you plan it. But with jail, it's like you sit there, you're on a routine, you wake up at a certain time, you eat your meals at a certain time. They teach you nothing other than don't hit each other and
like it's preschool.
Dude, it's whack, man. Man. They don't it's just a terrible system. Our system's fucked. It's just ruining America.
Well, and then on top of it, it seems like
profit.
You're a brilliant guy, and like coming out, it felt like at first while you were working at Hope by the Sea for a while, and you had been there for a long time, and you were looking for something different, and you kept saying that like having your background is hurting you trying to get a job, and it's like you could benefit so many companies because you're such a brilliant guy, and it's frustrating that because that's on your record.
It is. But it's also kind of a blessing. That's the way I look at it now because, as I've made it clear my entire 31 years of life, I have a problem with authority.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I'm going to be my own boss.
Yeah.
That's what needs to happen. And I feel like, I don't know if those out there listening now believe in God or anything like that, but I feel like maybe it's part of the plan for me. It's just I've had troubles in the past, and the whole felony thing. I think I've used that as a crutch or an excuse not to go get a job sometimes.
Okay.
At this time, I've been employed for I keep jobs, but
yeah. Well, especially now you have a great job.
It's okay.
You mind if I mention what you do?
Go ahead, man.
So Hoodie actually, he's a specialist with people that have college loans that are
federal student loans. Yeah.
Federal student loans. And Hoodie helps people that are in debt that are trying to fix their credit and get rid of those student loans, those federal student loans. And so if anybody needs that, by the way, message the podcast. We'll get you in touch with Hoodie.
Yeah, no, feel free. Even if you're not looking to do anything with your loans, if you have questions about them, I know quite a bit at this point. I've been in the industry for a while now. So yeah, feel free.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. So, okay, so you went through, let's see, take me through like what you do to keep your recovery. What things have worked for you best in recovery?
Dude, at the end of the day, it's if you don't really want it, you're not going to have it.
Well, see, here's the thing about wanting it. I talk about this sometimes. I don't feel like any of us ever want to get sober because, like, if it was up to me right now,
fuck no. I just don't want all the shit that comes with not being
the consequences. Yeah, we don't want those adverse, side effects.
Yeah, man. It's when you start getting in a bad spot and you isolate or whatever your triggers are, you know what they are. Everyone's different, but you know what fucks you up. And if you put yourself in that situation or surround yourself with shit that's going to bring you down and bring you to that spot, then that's on you. And you have to recognize it, learn to recognize it. Yeah. And, deal with it accordingly.
What do you do? So you've always been a guy that works out and lifts. I know that that's helped you in the past, but what's your go-to for when you are feeling like anxious or depressed or start isolating? Like what do you do to bring yourself out of those?
So what I do every single day, you mean?
Yeah.
My life is in shambles, man. I'm so stressed. No, dude, you just got to surround yourself with good people that give a fuck about you. Yeah. Because when you feel like you have no one to have your back or cares about you or help you out, yeah, that's lonely, man.
Well, what's blows my mind, not blows my mind that you of all people, because you're such a great dude, but like that you are a guy that is so good to have in your circle, because like for me, when I came out of treatment, you found me a sober living. You got me at the Serenity House that Ben owns in Mission Viejo. And if anybody's looking for sober living, definitely message the podcast. If you're in Orange County, Ben is Hood's cousin.
Highly recommend.
Highly recommended. He's got multiple houses out in Orange County, and you got me in over there. There was a time where I was having trouble with my rent. Hoodie paid some of my rent, and
that's what we do for each other, man. As you know, I keep my circle very small. Yeah. Extremely small. And because over the years, and especially the life I've lived with, dealing with other drug addicts and criminals. You just don't trust people after a while at all.
Of course.
You meet someone and you instantly are just like, okay, you're going to have to earn my trust.
Right.
And
right.
until someone shows me, like, I'll give people a chance. Don't get me wrong. I'll give everyone a fair shake. But for me to really let you into my life, you got to pretty much reciprocate everything that I give to you and then some. Because I'm over it, man. I'm tired of fake ass people and dumbass friends that just fuck you over in the end.
Absolutely.
And it's like Brooke and Sedona, like they brought me into and made me feel like a part of their family when I got to Orange County. If I didn't have people like them, who knows where I'd be? And that's so when you get that kind of love and respect, you want to give it back to other people that you think deserve it. Yeah. And that's you, man.
I appreciate
You're an awesome
that, man.
dude, man.
Dude, I really appreciate
We've been
that.
through a lot together. And
hell yeah, we have, man.
That's why you're in my circle, bud.
Samesies. No, I love the hell out of you, man. It just, it's been, so when I first came to treatment, like I had no idea what I was walking into. It was so new to me. And it just, you right away made me feel welcome there. I was nervous, I didn't want to get beat to hell by you because you're an intimidating looking guy.
I know everyone thought that. And dude, I'm like one of the nicest guys.
You
give me a reason not to be, then fuck you.
No, for reals. And not just that, but like you actually, for like a big dude, you've always been able to keep your temper pretty low. Like well, what I mean is like, you remember the brawls that happened when I was in that house? There was kid poured dip spit on Trippy's head. Trippy had to beat the hell out of him with one arm, man. and then you had to come out because we couldn't get Trip out of the car because we had to escort the other kid out.
I think I was the only one getting Trip out of that car, dude.
That was the only way, dude. And Hood comes downstairs, and Hood's just got that nice big presence there, but you keep your cool, man, and you're just you kind of nurtured him out of the car like a big brother, and
dude, that's what's fucked up about Trippy, man. He was like my little brother. That shit, that was one of the reasons I can't work in treatment anymore. I'm tired of establishing relationships and losing people. It sucks, man. It's really hard, especially the kids, the youngsters, dude. It's just like you put yourself in their shoes and you think about their families, and especially Tripp's parents, dude. It's just it's so rough, man. I hate it.
We're talking about Trip Miller. We dedicated the episode that me and Mikey Hall did. We dedicated it to Trip Miller because he was in treatment with me and Mikey when Hood was our house manager, and we all got close, man. We all got really close, and he was a good kid and
such
young
a good
kid.
Man. He's an awesome guy, man. I love that guy.
Yeah, and
love you, Trippy. Hope you're looking down, man.
Yeah, amen. And man, that one was a big blow. We went out me and you went out to dinner that night, and I had never seen you get so upset. You were very upset, and it crushed me too. It was just. Shout out to Trip Miller's family as well. They're beautiful people.
Love you guys, man. I hope you're doing okay.
Yeah. And it's hard, man. That's another thing too. People ask me all the time. They say, should you separate yourself from sobriety areas like meetings or fellowshipping with other addicts, or should you separate, or do you need to get closer? Because like my family a lot of times will say, shouldn't you stop going around that? And it does hurt so bad when we lose people. Yeah. But I feel like I need to be around it. I need to fellowship with other addicts. As hard as it is, it's what keeps me sober.
Yeah, and that's all power to you, man. And I was like that for a while too, and then eventually I just got to the point where I just wanted almost all of it out of my life completely. Yeah. I don't hang out with too many people. Period, but especially that are in recovery. I have like a couple friends that smoke weed and drink, and then I got a couple friends that are in recovery, and then that's it, other than family. You know?
Well, and I feel like, you keep a really good circle with you too. Like you said, Brooke, she's going to be on the next episode, and Sedona, her daughter, that they're good people.
Fucking amazing people. It's quantity over quality for me every time. Absolutely. I don't give a fuck how many friends you have. If they're all assholes and stab you in the back, you got nothing,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Man, you got any wild stories or something? I told a story about me accidentally smuggling drugs down into Mexico. You got anything that would blow somebody else's mind, but as addicts, it's just a normal thing that can happen,
Yeah, maybe on another episode.
Okay.
Man.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll cover that. I got plenty of stories, but
I'd
really want to think about it and get the details right because, dude, there's so many. I don't know. Everything's a blur too. So yeah, give me some time to think about that, and I'll tell one on.
What was life like as a house manager at a treatment center?
It was a blessing and a curse. So that's the rehab. I came out to Southern California to go to treatment for myself. I had been trying to get into treatment since December of 2015.
2015, yeah.
And it was about 3 months, but I was going back and forth with the insurance companies. As you know,
Right.
rehab costs so much fucking money. If you don't have insurance, you can't do it unless you're rich.
Hope by the sea, it's $30,000 a month.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
So me trying to buy a policy and like get some help that I really fucking needed, because I was on a sick run at that time, was just back and forth, and I got jerked around by the insurance brokers, and it was just a big process. Well,
Yeah.
my birthday is in February, so 3 days before. Well, no. So, yeah, 2 days after, actually, my birthday, I got arrested. I was on my birthday. I was staying with my mom for 2 months for the first time in years, right?
Yeah.
Trying to get out to rehab. So she said, you can stay here until you go to treatment. I was like, all right, cool. On my birthday, we get in a big-ass fight, so I left. And I was literally walking around the fucking streets of Rockland, which is in Placer County, for 2 days, bro, just getting high. And
I thought you were going to say you were getting plastered.
Stupid ass. Placer.
Oh, Placer. Oh, my
Placer County. Fuckhead. No, so dude, I was walking around getting high. It was like midnight, and fucking sure enough, Placer County Sheriff rolls around the corner and it's like, oh, look at this guy. I look like shit, dude. They already knew. And also, I was known in that area for a bunch of shit. So they recognized me, and they're like, hey, what are you doing out here, Mr. Hood? And I was like, yeah. I tried to keep walking, but I didn't really know my rights at the time. I was fucking high, too. I was paranoid. So he's like, can I talk to you real quick? And like an asshole, I'm like, yeah. Stupid. So anyways, yeah, I'm on probation at that time, and he searched me, and I got locked up for possession of some stuff. Anyways, I went into jail, and I was in jail for like 2 weeks. I'm like, and I saw the judge on my room. I'm like, look, I'm trying to get out to rehab, so if you could just court order me, that'd be great.
Yeah. They do that for you?
And so he did. He's like, but then once he did, I was like, now I don't want to go because you're telling me I have to.
Yeah. Yeah, right? What is that about addicts? It's that pushback.
So anyways, I fucking come out to the Orange County, and I go to the rehab. And I'm there for like a month, right? And you know how it took me 3 months to get my insurance?
Yeah.
Well, after 30 days, they said they'd cover. So they said that they would cover 6 months of treatment.
Right.
After 30 days, they fucking canceled the policy and dropped me.
This happens
and said,
a lot,
no,
by the way.
you're doing too well. It's in your therapist's notes. You're recovering too quick, so you don't need help anymore. I'm like, so do I have to relapse to keep staying in treatment? I was literally, dude. They took us to the gym every day. At that time, before you got there.
Do you even lift, bro?
And so there was a hand sanitizer thing on the wall, and I'm like, you know what I'm gonna do? I was like, I'm gonna fill up a fucking cup with hand sanitizer and chug it, and then go tell them I'm drunk and have them breathalyze me so I can stay in treatment. That's how serious I was, dude. I was like, I need to fucking stay here.
Yeah, it's fucking brutal. The better you do, the less coverage you get, and then they want to kick you out.
It's fucking stupid, man. But you know they're getting fucked too because everyone's doing insurance fraud. So it's like a whole.
About that with Mikey.
It's just crazy, man. This is just a fucked up system. So the people that need help aren't getting it, and the people that don't are making money off it.
Yep.
But anyway, so after that, they're like, well, what we can do is sponsor you. So they basically just let me stay there for another almost.
Oh, like scholarship, basically?
Yeah,
That's what they
scholarship.
did for me.
I'm sorry, not sponsor. So they did that for another month and a half, and then they're like, look, we can't do it anymore, but if you want to work here, we can make you a house manager, and da-da-da-da. And I'm speaking with my public defender at the time, trying to dodge these 3 open cases that I still have.
Shit. Well, they probably loved you offering to be a house manager at the court.
Oh, yeah. Well, no. So they're like, you have to go to treatment for 6 months, and then you have to do a year of sober living, or I forget the stipulations.
Before you could be the house manager?
That's not what Hope was saying. That's what the court said.
That's what I'm saying. Why would the court want that? Why wouldn't the court?
Dude, no, actually, what they wanted me to do was do 6 months of treatment and come back and do some time. I was like, are you fucking? I told my public defender, I was like, are you fucking kidding? Like,
how would that be helpful for you?
Yeah, exactly.
How would that be helpful?
You're preaching to the choir, man. So what I told her,
that pisses me off.
I told Julianne at the time. She was the director of operations. I said, look, I want to work here. I was like, but I'm court ordered to do treatment for 6 months. If I leave here or quit treatment, I'm going to jail. And she's like, I'm sorry, honey. Like, there's nothing we can do, and this and that. So I was like, fuck it. I'll take the job.
Yeah.
I called my public defender the next day, and I was like, so funny story, true story. Here's the thing. And so I told her, and she's like, that's not going to fly. We have a new district attorney, and she doesn't understand bargaining. And I was like, well, you need to do your best. Otherwise, you guys can serve the warrant and find me.
Helping people? Does she understand humanity? How about treat people like humans?
This system doesn't give a fuck.
God.
It's all about money to them. All I know is that I was like, you tell that DA, look up my charges in that county, and they've wanted me out of that county forever. Why would you guys not just give me this opportunity to fucking leave and change my life?
They're like you. Once you said it's okay, they're like, no. Get back here. Bring that ass back here.
Yeah, I'm not done with you, pal. No, so I pitched it to her, and she said, I'll let you know. I'll give you a call when I figure it out. And I was like, okay. And she called me, and slowly but surely over the next 6 months, she finally worked it out to where I could just plead to a couple misdemeanors, thank God.
Awesome.
And is assuming that so what I did was had Julianne write me a letter saying he's in sober living, he's still in treatment, he's a house manager, he works for us.
Julianne was the lady that ran.
Yeah, dude,
rehab.
You should meet her sometime. She's fucking.
I think I have.
Amazing
I think I have met her.
Have you?
Right? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, black hair.
I don't remember.
So, anyways, she wrote that letter for me, and that's what saved me, dude. So they got the job there, and I was like, all right, cool. So to answer your question 20 minutes later.
No, this has been good. This is exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, I loved it at first. I felt like a part of something. I was welcome. I was like, this is me now. Like, I don't have to go back to that shit in Sacramento. Like, I don't got to do that no more. And
get a fresh start.
Yeah, and I had a lot of amazing people around me. I mean, Hope was full of a lot of amazing people
really
at the time.
was,
The
man.
staff and
Erin Perez, shout out to her. She was my my counselor, my therapist while I was there. She's amazing. She listens to the podcast all the time. So shout out to Erin.
Oh yeah. So yeah, it was cool at first. It was great, man. It was the best thing for me.
Yeah.
I don't regret it at all. It's just towards the end they started changing a lot of shit. They started basically. It was all about money for them, so they started getting rid of all the people that did good work because they didn't want to pay them right.
Right.
And that's what fucking made it for me when I went through treatment. I was like, how are you guys going to, you're making it to where we all hate working here, and that's going to rub off on the clients, and that's fucked up.
It does, too, immediately.
I know it does, and that's, I got to apologize, man, because I was probably not a very good influence towards the end to anyone who's listening that's from Hope, that I was your house manager. I was probably a dick there in the last couple months, and I'm sorry.
Well, that was, I like that you take responsibility for that, because even though you were in relapse mode and your midbrain's taking over, your prefrontal cortex is being numbed by the drugs, we're still responsible for our actions. And it's
100%.
It's great. And I find that by taking, like, when I take responsibility for some of my stuff, I'm able to heal from it faster. And
for sure.
Has that helped?
If you don't own it, you're just a douchebag.
Yeah, that's true. That's
pretty
true.
much.
So
own your shit.
So you go through this wave of, like, you were gonna be in jail. Now you've gotten sober. You're in recovery mode. Now you want to stay sober, and then you're a house manager, and then it kind of dips when you start losing people. And it's hurting a bit. So you decided I need to get out of there. I know that you had the relapse that kind of took you out of there too, but it felt like that wasn't too long of a relapse, to be fair.
So you
How
guys,
long was it?
let's finish that story. So
Yeah.
you guys got me into detox, and then I left a day or 3 early. And
I remember saying, because people at work kept asking me, like, how's your buddy doing? How's your buddy? And I said, if we can just make it past day 3, like, that's kind of the hump. I'm like, day 4 even. And then if you make it past that, you're good. You can get out of junkie brain. I call it junkie brain when we are still obsessed, when we haven't fully gotten the drugs out of our system.
Yeah,
And
but
then
I
you left
didn't.
after day 3.
I hit the streets running and kept going for another few months.
Yeah.
At least, which, yeah, you're right. That's not a very long time.
Yeah,
for me at least.
Yeah.
I don't know how I didn't catch a case or do something else, but in that time.
Well, you still had a good circle around you, though. So even though you relapsed, the people that were, it's not like you went and started hanging out with too many shitty people. There was a couple, but, like, you still had, Brooke was checking up on you all the time. You were still welcome over there, over here actually, where, she would take care of you too, and try to get you back into the sobriety mind. And then, me and you would have, we'd talk here and there, and it's like, I feel like you still kept a good circle. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah.
That had to have helped a bit.
Oh, it's more than a bit, dude. Without it, I don't know.
Yeah. And then it was shortly after your relapse. It was like a week later that we get a call about Mikey.
Yeah.
And me and Mikey talked a little bit about how me and Brooke kidnapped him and sat him out at the hotel.
I was a little sad I couldn't be a part of that, man. I was like,
I know. It was fun. No, it wasn't. It sucked.
In hindsight. Yeah,
in hindsight, it is all funny.
Right.
It's all of it's hilarious. Only when we survive. Then it's funny to look back on and to learn from it and accept that this has happened. Now we can learn from it. Then I feel like it's okay to laugh about. So wait, we were gonna talk about. So you leave treatment after 3 days and you go on a little run after that. What finally was the straw where you just were like, now I'm getting sober again. It's happening.
I just couldn't, man. I couldn't anymore. because I was running out of money for one thing, and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not about to be homeless again because
Yeah.
I did way too much of that. I was like, I don't know how I'm not fucking locked up right now, but I don't want to be again.
Right.
I gotta stop. I'm getting too fucking old. The same thing.
Yeah.
It's just I got tired, man.
And then
No.
what did you do? Because you didn't go into treatment. You
No,
stopped on
I
your
just
own.
stopped, dude. I did
That's
take. I'm not
fucking
gonna lie.
amazing.
I
That-
took Suboxone for.
That still is stopping on your own to me. If you don't have to go get locked, I can't
Yeah.
do that. I have to be locked away at a rehab or something where I'm held accountable. Because
I usually do too, but it came down to crunch time.
yeah.
So I really, I needed to get a new job, and there was no way I was gonna do that getting high. I needed to, help take care of Amber and her kid. It was just,
Yeah.
a lot going on, and I decided to man the fuck up finally, and I just did it.
I it still blows my mind, man. Congrats on that, because
Thanks, bro.
props for sure.
guess.
I cannot do that shit.
Don't
man.
congratulate me for shit I should have done in the first place.
No, it's not should have, because man, it's our impulses. Unless we've already been retraining our brains, retraining all of our actions, we're gonna slip up. You're gonna slip up, and if you're not
Human nature,
prepared,
yeah.
then you can end up accidentally going on these runs. But the thing is that I've always said, so the disease progresses, right? Every time that we relapse, we go right back to
Right
just where we
back.
were. But the recovery progresses too. When we come back to the sobriety, we still, everything we learned from before, we still have that.
Oh, for sure.
You
yeah,
know?
I haven't forgotten any of it. I mean, I was
Yeah.
able to bounce back fairly quick.
And I feel like the relapses, it's okay if you relapse, just get your ass back up, but the relapses should be coming as long as you're retraining your body, retraining your actions. They should start becoming fewer and far between, and then eventually not happen. You know, that's what I feel. That's just my personal thoughts. I'm not saying that's how it works. I'm just, but I don't know, man. What's your thoughts on relapse and stuff? When people relapse and,
Really quick, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah.
I fucked up. So when
No.
you asked why I finally decided to get clean, I just remember, and I feel like a really big asshole for not saying this before. What it was, actually, dude,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, the real reason,
yeah,
I found out my grandma was like pretty much about to pass.
fuck.
And she lives in Arizona, and I was like, I am not driving out there using
Yeah.
and having that be my last time with her.
Yeah.
And that was a week. So I had a week.
Mhm.
And so I took 5 days of Suboxone, and the last 2 days I just turkeyed it.
Fuck.
But then I drove out there, and I still felt like shit, but dude, I needed to go out there. I would have hated myself for the rest of my life if I
Yeah.
didn't go see her.
Yeah.
So that, I'm sorry, just
No, I
to backtrack
appreciate
a
you.
little
No,
bit.
I appreciate you saying that. I was actually in treatment in Vegas during
That's
that
right.
time, right?
Yeah.
Because we were gonna try to do something where you could come see me, but the timing just didn't work
Yeah.
out. And
Yeah.
I'm glad that you got out there, though, man. That's
I
that's
needed
great.
to.
And that you were able to
I
get
wouldn't have
sober.
forgiven myself if I hadn't. So
Yeah.
there's
That-
no excuse. It's a 4-hour drive, dude. I'm like, if I'm gonna miss this, and then I went out a few weeks later for her funeral as well. But I was like, if I'm gonna miss my last time that I can have with her here on this earth because I'm getting high,
Mm-hmm.
imagine the guilt. Guilt's usually what fucks me up.
Oh,
so
yeah.
imagine if I
Yeah.
let that happen, dude. I would have never. So I had to.
I
had
yeah.
to.
That's beautiful that you were able to do that, man, and get to see her. It's about that time. Dude, I appreciate you coming on.
Dude,
And
thanks for having me.
dude, this has been what I've wanted for so long.
I know you've been trying to get
I've
me.
been trying to get you constantly to get him today. I was texting him yesterday. What are you doing tomorrow? Like trying to, without saying come on the
I
podcast.
knew there was something.
And I texted him this morning. Hey, what are you doing around tonight? Around 6:30? He goes, you want to go to lunch at 2:30? I'm like, well, here's the thing. I kind of want you to come on the podcast, bro.
Yeah.
But
So I got you to agree to lunch at least beforehand.
That's
so.
true. I did show up to lunch. I
It was a
did.
trade.
But okay, so I want to remind everybody before we go here to go to the website. This is ournormalpodcast.com. There's links to iTunes, Spotify, Google Play Music, our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and as well as all the episodes that are already available will be on the website as well. There's going to be videos up from little clips of today, and I just appreciate you coming on again, Huddy. This has been Saul Jones, your host.
Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
No
Brian
problem.
Hood. out.
Brian Hood, our guest, and Joel Cowen. Joel, give us a shout out. Let me hear you say goodbye at least.
Yell it.
Have a good one, guys.